Right, here we are. We are back on what we're going to call Eurobus and Truck Simulator. I think that's going to be the new title because anybody who plays Euro Truck 2 or follows Euro Truck 2 in one way or another should know by now the teaser video is out. The little teaser video, it's about 20 odd seconds long, and it's actually called Next Stop. There's a truck sitting side on. You can hear an engine starting. And just as you think the truck's about to pull away, out pops a bus from behind the truck. So buses are definitely coming to Eurotruck. But then again, buses have always been in Eurotruck, right from when it started back in 2012. But the only way you can get buses in Eurotruck, and the only way you can sort of simulate passenger collection and delivery, is by using a passenger mod. There is a passenger mod on Steam. It's the only bus passenger mod as far as I can see, and it sort of does the job. Not quite though. Let me just change that title. That's not the one I want. Hang on. It's that one I want. We've already done our Roads of Chunghwa. What's it called again? It's Faroes. Faroe Isles. I'll get the title right. And I'm just going to call it Iceland because I can't bloody pronounce the name of the place that we're going to, but it's right at the northern tip of Iceland. We'll see that in a second. Let's have a look at the map. This is a big Marco Polo Scania bus that I've got. Big fuel tank, 357 gallons, 420 horsepower engine, which is more than suitable for doing this. That's not what I want. I want to look at the map. Right, we've already picked up the passengers. We're in the Faroe Isles, and we're just going down to the ferry, and then we're heading up to another name I can't pronounce. That one there, Seyðisfjörður or whatever it is. That's where we're going. And then we're driving across the north side of Iceland. Now, I've driven this before, and I've driven it in a truck, and it's pretty tricky in a truck. It's going to be even more tricky in this bus because this bus has got the turning circle of a 3/4 of a mile long oil tanker. It takes about 3 days to turn a corner, and the road gets a bit dodgy, shall we say, in one or two places going across Iceland. But that's where we're going. It might take a little while because you can't sort of burn up the asphalt going in this road. And we'll see how long it takes, but it shouldn't be an overly long trip. Right, so let me just see if I can get my chat monitor set up. Right, we should be good to go. Right, there we are. We're parked up. Now, like I said, the turning circle in this is horrible. They're not meant to be, to be turning big corners all the time. They're supposed to be touring buses. We'll try and squeeze ourselves out. Now, of course, with having the bus mod installed, there's a difference between having this bus mod installed and what Eurotruck or what SCS, the developers of Eurotruck, are intended to do. It depends how far they want to take buses, whether they want to. I mean, there's been bus stations in a lot of the major towns and cities in the default maps for Eurotruck. But what I've got here is I've got a huge map combo that covers a great big chunk of Africa. And once you go beyond the default map, you go to all of these areas over here. These are all map mods that have been installed right across to Far East Russia, down to Southeast Asia, All of these maps here, if they don't already have bus stops or bus stations in them, the modders are going to have to add them if they want them to be part of this bus setup, and whether it'll work or not, I don't know. But anyway, let's get the GPS up and running, and I'll get my... no, that's not the one I want. That's the one I want. Right, we're going left. And we're heading down to the ferry.
Turn left.
Yeah. Not the best thing to be turning.
Turn left. Turn left.
Now, I think these guys are doing the right thing and letting us out. At least I hope they are. Now this is also a tight turn into the ferry as well, I think, in this one. I think it's a very tight turn. So this is the main town, down to the harbour. There's our ferry over there, or at least one of them anyway. Now you'll see what I mean by a tight turn here. Because we actually should be doing almost a complete U-turn here, trying to get into this entrance, which is actually the inside entrance, the one nearest us. That's the way we should be going, but and I've just taken that sign down for the second time. Right, so we're going to that one there, however you pronounce it. It's going to take us 15 hours. Cost us £913, so let's go. Well, let's just hope it's not night, because the headlights in these buses are like 2 matchsticks. Not particularly great, because I'm well used to a lot of lights at night. So off we go. We have landed in Iceland, Seyðisfjörður, and now the roads are pretty tight here as well, getting out of here. And it is late at night, it's almost 10 PM. Well, at this time of year it should be the land of the midnight sun anyway. We've still got 673 miles to go across Iceland. Yeah, I think there's a junction up at the end here. There's actually more than one junction that we're going to have to negotiate, but this damn thing's too big to turn these tight corners. That's why I have to go in third person. We'll take down signs and all sorts. So you'll be able to pick up, I mean, I don't know, I'm wondering how detailed that they're going to implement buses. I mean, the one thing they've never had in Eurotruck is the ability, I'm talking about trucks. In Eurotruck, the trucks have always had an A to B delivery system. That is, you go to point A, pick up the goods, and you deliver them at point B. Whereas I've always been wanting multiple deliveries where you're picking up like 5 different items and going to 5 different customers. They've never implemented that, so I would imagine that buses will be very similar. All you're doing is picking up passengers from point A and delivering them to point B. It won't be that you can set up your own route plan, you know, or you know, set a particular trip going to like 4 or 5 different locations before you get to the end location. It probably won't be that. So it depends how much they want, you know, how much detail they want to invest in adding this to the game. But I think it will certainly draw more people to it. So anyway, off we go, we're on the road. Heading across Iceland, and it's 20 past 10 at night. So the passenger mod in Eurotruck has always been like some of the passenger mods that we've had in the past. You have to actually, like for example, for the Brazil map, there was a passenger mod came with it, and you had to buy an invisible trailer and then attach that invisible trailer to your truck, and that would allow you to pick up the passengers. Whereas this passenger mod that we have, some of the jobs for, you know, truck deliveries are converted into passenger deliveries in a number of locations, but not all of them. So you have to pick and choose your bus passenger deliveries. And then all you do is reverse into the location that's mapped in the parking. So when you reverse in to pick up the passengers, and then you go to point B and you drop the passengers off. Now, the bus mod doesn't always work 100%. Sometimes, for example, when you get to the end of the delivery where you're dropping the passengers off, it doesn't recognise that you're parking the bus. These are sort of glitches that have always been in some of these passenger mods, but it's a sort of roundabout way, better than nothing at all type way of getting buses into the game. Until SCS, what the hell did I hit there? Until SCS eventually decided that they're going to eventually get round to doing it themselves. So it'll most certainly be more workable when they do it.
Turn right.
Here we go, another tight corner. And I've got the wipers on for some reason. Right, there we are. So I reckon that this will be as dark as it gets at this time of year, because up in that part of the world, when you get to, you know, the middle of June, you're, you know, halfway through the year, and at that time up north they've got 24-hour daylight. The sun doesn't completely sink below the horizon. So right now we're in a sort of twilight zone.
Continue straight.
I'm hitting. I'm in the middle of the bloody road. How can I be hitting things? Looking for the passenger mod on the Steam Workshop, you go to your Eurotruck game. Before you launch the game, you look at the tabs on Steam and you'll see Workshop, and when you go to the Workshop there's a little search window and you can type in passenger and you will find passenger mod. There's actually two mods. There's a mod for buses, or the truck mod that allows you to pick up passengers. There's also a car mod that allows you to put car mods into the game, but use the car to pick up passengers. So you can either drive a car in Eurotruck and pick up passengers, or drive a bus. I have to say I've never driven a car and picked up passengers. It's always been buses. Both of them are on the Steam Workshop, and then all you do then is just click the button to subscribe to it, and it's automatically installed into your mods list within the game. Well, it's a bit wild and windswept looking where we're going, but we're in our nice air-conditioned heated bus with drifting effect. As if it's a wintry night, it's very cold outside and there ain't much around here, it's pretty much a wilderness. Of course, this is all part of the Pro Mods map install. Right. Well, it's a bit tight to be squeezing down here. Cattle grid. Thing I discovered a while back is that the Grand Utopia map, which I've driven on a number of times, and I've done a few live streams. So the Grand Utopia map is not
Ahead.
100%
Turn left.
perfect for buses, because I was driving a bus like this on that map,
Turn left.
and unfortunately one of the bridges that we were going under, we were on one of the main auto routes, but we actually were on the road, but there was a bridge going over us, and that bridge was actually too low for the double-decker bus. So you got to be careful on some maps, and the Grand Utopia map's one of them if you're using a double-decker bus. Right, we're right down along the coast at the moment. Still 500 odd miles to go. Well, that's one effect that ProMods have got right on this map. Going in and out of the tunnel, you've got the snow appearing and disappearing as you're in the tunnel. Sometimes in the past, some map mods that have had snow on the ground, the snow goes right through the tunnel. So it's now 3 AM in the morning and dawn has already broken. This might be the highest point in the trip that we're going up to, I think.
Continue straight.
that's one thing that the Pro Mods map certainly gives you. It gives you that feeling of isolation on this particular part of the map, on the Iceland map. It's a desolate, windswept, damp, cold place. And Scotland's not far behind them.
second exit. Take this exit.
Iceland. Drive with caution, snow ahead. So we've had a warning. o'clock in the morning. We had no night time at all.
Ahead. Turn left. Turn left.
To go, and I think the last part of this is probably going to be the most challenging. I think, if only because this bus is so difficult to judge going round these tight bends. Look at where we are. Right, so we got the ferry from the Faroe Isles, and we are just beyond halfway of where we're going, and we're going right up to there, as far as we can more or less go to that point there on Bolungarvik. That's the name of the place we're going to. And it's a wee bit twisty and turny.
out, take the second exit. Take this exit.
Oh, hang on a minute. Where are we? I need a quick drink as well, anyway. Right, on we go. Not long to go now, 169 miles.
Turn right.
Quite a spectacular looking view across the fjords and all the snow in the hills, little villages. Very nice. And nice white fluffy clouds. Blue sky. Like a fresh winter's day in the middle of June. So no doubt that as and when buses are introduced officially into the game, I have no doubt that there will be a bus probably, and then you'll have DLC bus packs that you'll be able to buy. Now, hang on a minute, let me put the diff lock on, see if that's going to help us. But does this bus have a diff lock? icy road. And we're struggling to get grip here. Incidentally, that bus you see in the traffic there, that's probably from the American Brazil map that's installed along with this combination of maps that I have. Those buses aren't part of. They're not part of Eurotruck or Pro Mods either. They're from another map. Well, this is definitely the highest point we're going to. I wonder if this is where they've got the drift and snow effect. They used to have the drift and snow effect. I don't know whether it's in this part of the map or somewhere else, but it was quite a nice touch. And with this bright sky that we've got and sunshine, there it is up ahead. There it's up ahead. You've got the drift and snow effect going across the hill. Now this is like the most exposed part of the trip, right up on the top of the plateau here. That's why the bus is struggling to get a grip on the ice. And you can see that drifting snow effect that we're getting. A wild and lonely place. I knew that was on the map somewhere, I just couldn't remember whether it was this route that we were on. Right, and then it's downhill again. sliding off the road. There's different traction on this slushy ice that we're driving on. It's probably more noticeable in a truck, but it's the only part of this map where this actually happens. I mean, you can drive in snow on other parts of the combo map, but this Pro Mods part of the map, these icy effects that you have on the road surface, does affect the physics. You'll find it more difficult to turn, and you can feel the back end of the vehicle want to slide away. There is a difference in the road surface. Right, 29 miles to go, not long now. And this is 600 odd miles. It's actually a fairly short trip for me. I'm usually 3,000 and 4,000 miles, but I thought it'd be nice, especially with because I've got the JBX graphic mod installed as well, and there's some nice skyboxes in it, nice bright sunshine, beautiful weather, and a nice drive in our big bus. -1 degree below freezing. There's that bump again. I don't know what it is I'm hitting it, whether it's a hole in the road or something, but there's always that bump. I'm not hitting anything at the side of the road. And this is a tricky part right along the coast. Thing I'm worried about hitting is another vehicle on the inside when I'm turning one of these corners with this bus. Oh, there's a plane taking off. Well, those drive with care snow alerts never used to be part of ProMod, so they've added that. They were never in it, as far as I remember. Or whatever it is. Or one coming into land.
At the roundabout, take the second exit. Take this exit.
See, these roundabouts were never designed for buses. I know what we'll do. Let's have a quick look and see where this plane's coming from. The plane coming from somewhere, and there's no airport here. But it's definitely, I think it's definitely coming over those cliffs there. The hell is it? Now we're looking for it, we won't probably see it. Can't see it. And I don't think that's an active ferry, is it? Where does that go? I can't see where that ferry goes. Maybe that ferry takes you to maybe that takes you to either Greenland or over to Nova Scotia. Maybe that's what that is. Anyway, we can't find it. We can't find a plane, so let's just finish this job and get done with it. Almost there. This is the place we're going to, Bolungarvik. That's probably not how you pronounce it, so apologies to any Icelanders watching. Right, so sometimes the deliveries in these areas are a little bit fiddly, especially when James can't give you the right directions. Let me have a look. Now, James hasn't said anything yet, or if he has, I've not heard him.
Turn left.
Turn left, he says. Now, the question is where do we turn left? Is it in there? That looks tight. Let's have a quick look. We'll have a reconnoiter, as they say. For goodness me. Right. Now that truck is just parked there. That's fine. That's not anything. We're stopped moving. But the problem is we're holding up the traffic. The other problem is that as soon as we move to reverse, these bloody AI traffic are going to be right on us and we won't be able to turn. It's bad enough trying to turn this bus. I know what I'll do. I'll save a heck of a lot of bloody trouble. I'll do that because I could be there for an hour trying to get my way around this AI traffic and they'll just keep coming at you if you give them any room. So stuff that, I'll be here all day. Now, will this work or won't it work? Sometimes it does, most of the time it doesn't when you're trying to park. Let's see. When you're trying to park with the passenger mod. Now you see, like that, it isn't working. And this is what happens a lot of the time. It doesn't highlight, it doesn't go green. And so the only way of doing that, or getting round that, is if the pop-up comes up to finish your delivery, which it isn't at the moment. That's what I'm saying about passenger mods. They work sort of, but they're not the most effective thing in the world. And sometimes you get things like this where the difficulty is, there we go, that's what we want. That's the only way we could finish that job. And that's the sort of downfall with that passenger mod. It does that more often than not. Right, so we have completed our job, and that was the end of our trip today. And the trip we did was from Torshavn, or whatever you call it, in the Faroe Isles. That's the capital of the Faroe Isles. We landed in that funny place up there, that place, and we've driven all the way across the north side of Iceland, right up to there. And our passengers have been delivered. And that is us. I'm off for a coffee and a sit down. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again soon.